Here we've got a nice clean groove, and the first thing I want to do is, you probably can see there's a couple of marks here that's really left over. There's blemishes from the old cane been on there and a bit of dust, so I just go over a little bit of sandpaper along the edges here to clean it up, and also just clean the groove out a little bit, and any sharp edges just on here as well as the input side of the frame. It's worth just cleaning them up and making sure it's nice and ready for when you put the cane in. So here we have a clean frame, and now we're going to put the wet rattan. It's been soaking for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and what you've got to do is place it over the frame and square it up so where this groove is, the front groove, and try and place that so it lines up with, say, one of those rows, and obviously keep that 90 degrees square to that line, and likewise this side. We'll fit that first. So you can see the first little pieces in here, just along there, just push that front bit in, keeping it square. So here we're going with the back piece. Just ease it down like that. And that's going in nice and easy. And back there, so you can see that I'm quite a way down into the groove now, and so I got the front piece and the back piece done. Now effectively you can come around and start doing the sides, but because this is a nice square front at the back here, the front in the seat here, what we really need to do is just maintain that. So once the back's in a little bit, the best thing to do is continue on with the front, and you can see it's quite easy enough. I'm going to put the camera down because you really need another hand. The other hand will be sort of holding this in and just pushing that up like that to assist the cane into the groove. So I'll put the camera on the side so you can view the whole process, and I'll push the cane all the way around into the frame. So yeah, you can ease the cane in a lot easier when you've got two hands. So that's in. So all the front's in. Just make sure, go over it a bit more and make sure that's nice and flat, right down into the groove. And do a bit more of the back. And yeah, don't forget, if you've got a workbench, I mean, I've got a little bit of laminate down on here so it slides around easier. I mean, carpet's quite good, but anything where it's going to make your life a lot easier to put the cane in. And always make sure, you know, I'm at up hip height, so it's going to be less pressure on me. Now I'm just doing down the sides. And just go nice, I mean, I'm doing it fairly quickly now, but just go nice and slow to begin with. Don't make it a race. If you got to get caught away on the phone like I did a minute ago, and you get distracted or something happens and this starts drying out, don't worry too much. Just spray a little bit more water. Just as long as it stays wet all the time, you can always come back to the job. I mean, ideally it's best to start the job and finish it completely, but if that happens, don't worry, and just carry on with the job as long as you keep this nice and wet. Preferably don't do it on a stinking hot day. I mean, here I am in Australia, and it's in the summer months, and we're up to 33 degrees today, but I'm in a cooler environment. I've got the air conditioning on, and keeping this quite damp, and it's fine. But yeah, if you're out in a shed somewhere in the backyard and it's a stinking hot environment, I wouldn't bother doing it because the cane will just dry out too quick. You don't want that. Now, with a nice sharp standing knife or utility knife, nice new blade, what we're going to do now is probably the most difficult bit in a way, really, but you position your knife along the outside edge of 1 millimeter below the outside edge. And what you're going to do is, I mean, I'm right-handed, but with your left hand, hang on, with your left hand, hold this cane back a little bit, and you can probably just see the edge of the groove. Aim your knife just below that and start cutting very carefully, and obviously avoid cutting into your wrist like that. You don't want that to happen, because the worst thing is if you start bleeding and it goes on the rattan, it's going to be blooming awkward to try and get off. So let alone having a slit wrist, you don't want to have that and make a mess of your work. That's done. Now next bit of PVA glue, just carefully run a little bit along there quite easily. So now we've got to gently tap the pith core in. You cut a piece that's about just a bit longer than the front, as you can see here, and then one piece for the back, because you can see on the corners of this particular chair it's cut at 90 degrees, and there we're going to do a little mitre joint. So gently tap the core into the groove. Just start tapping this in, work your way around. I'm doing it one-handed, so it's not too deep, but work that all the way around. Just tapping that way around, and you go all the way around to keep the air bubbles out, and eventually work your way around to the front again. Cut here, you just aim across the top of the spline, and where's the 90 degrees, put a 45-degree angle and cut carefully down there, and that's how you finish it off. That's it. Just wipe off any excess glue you got squirting out the side of the frames. And there we have it. So here you can see the seat's finished. Just wipe over a little bit of stain to bring it up a bit to colour. This is light oak stain, thinned down with a bit of terps, and just enough to give it that little edge. And there we have it. All finished, all secured.